Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the July 13th Transit Technical Advisory Committee. Let's go ahead and get started with introductions. I will read off the list and hopefully not mess it up too much as people are joining. We have Drew Nichols from SCTA. I'm Dana Teray with SCTA. Ken Tam from Regional Parks. Edie Takata, City of Roanoke Park. Hunter McLaughlin. Hunter, are you from the county TPW?
I am,
Great.
yes.
Okay. David Davenport with Golden Gate Transit. Jared Hall, Petaluma Transit. Stephen Schmitz, Sonoma County Transit. Emily Betts, SMART. Robert Betts, Marin Transit. Ken Eichstadt, City of Petaluma. Ross Clendenden, SCTA, RCPA. Jason Sanfitero, City of Roanoke Park. Mona Ibrahim, Town of Windsor. Chris Bearden, SMART. David Ripperda, SCTA. Nader Nadu, Sonoma County TPW. Sean Sosa, San Rosa City Bus. Alejandro Perez, Town of Windsor. Jacob Brown, Golden Gate Transit. Larry Zimmer, City of Healdsburg. Steve Urbanek, Sonoma County. And did I miss anyone? I see Shauna Gotts with SCTA has also joined. And has Steve Bertelbaugh, Sonoma County Transportation Land Use Coalition, and Rachel Eid with San Rosa City Bus. All right, now have I missed anyone? Great. So next on the agenda is a public comment. Is there any public comment on items that are not on the agenda? All right. Hearing none, let's move on to approval of the meeting notes from June 8th. Are there any comments or corrections on the meeting notes? All right, and can I get a motion on the notes?
I'll move to approve.
Thanks, David. And do we have a second? Jared? Thanks, Jared. All right. Let's move on to regional funding. And the item that a number of you are here for is the One Bay Area Grant Cycle 3 application review by Transit for the Complete Streets checklist. We sent a list of all of the projects that were recommended for OBAG 3 applications to the transit operators that serve Sonoma County for review to as the projects may have any impacts on transit stops or operations. And we also invited the project sponsors to join this meeting if there are any questions that the transit operators have about the projects. I know that some project applicants have already independently consulted with transit, but as this is a new requirement for the Complete Streets checklist, we wanted to facilitate the process and give a chance for all of the transit operators to review the projects at one time and have a chance to talk with all of the applicants at one time. We've also drafted a letter for the transit operators to sign off on, assuming that there are no major issues with the projects, saying that confirming that they have reviewed the projects and are have worked out any project design issues. And then to that, our plan is to attach the list of projects that will be applying for the OBAG 3 program. So I will ask Shauna if she has anything to add on the process.
Thanks, Dana. No, I don't have anything to add on the process. I think you've covered it very nicely. It's a new requirement that, it's a new checkbox, we'll say. It's always sort of been an ideal that the project sponsors would coordinate with transit. This is a way to document that process. So we're just trying to make sure that these requirements are fulfilled before we submit our applications to the Metropolitan Transportation Commission in the fall.
Thanks, Shauna. And just a little bit more on timing and the process. The idea is to have transit review the projects in advance of finalizing the Complete Streets checklist. Those checklists are due with the project applications on July 18th. So if the applicants can check that box and include the letter before that checklist is complete, that's ideal. The Complete Streets checklist will then go to the Countywide Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee on July 26th for review and approval. So with that, I would like to just open it up and ask the transit operators if there are any particular questions or concerns they have of the project sponsors that they would like to discuss at this time.
Well, I think that I probably have, as the countywide transit provider, we probably had the most to review, so I can kick it off here. And first of all, I appreciate everybody that took the extra effort to reach out to us and the other transit operators before the meeting. That was very helpful, and it facilitated some communication between at least Sonoma County Transit and the project sponsors. So I did hear from Cotati and Healdsburg and Santa Rosa, Sebastopol, County Public Works, and Windsor. I did not hear from Petaluma, Roanoke Park, or from SMART, but already determined that those projects wouldn't impact Sonoma County Transit at all. So that's fine, but I didn't have any written communication with those particular jurisdictions. But it sounds like that'll be covered with this overall letter that the transit operators would sign on to. So that would fulfill the Complete Streets requirement for those jurisdictions that I didn't directly correspond with. I sent a few letters of support to some jurisdictions and otherwise just corresponded via email that we did review their projects and did not see any impacts to transit. So I don't know if anyone from Sebastopol is here, but there are a couple of bus stops on Bodega Avenue that would be impacted, but I feel confident that they're aware of that and would work with us to resolve any issues. And Healdsburg, also along Grove Street, I did correspond with them, sent a letter of support. So there's some bus stops there that would be impacted, but again, feel confident that they'll work with us. Anything else? Oh, Public Works, County Public Works, Todd Road, appreciate working with them on our bus stop over there with the signalization project. And Windsor on Old Redwood Highway. We've worked with them pretty extensively on regarding our bus stops along that stretch of Old Redwood Highway and feel confident that they'll work with us. So I know that's a lot of information that I threw out, but I just wanted to give you a feel for that we have been corresponding with most of the project sponsors, and even the ones that we didn't hear from, it was clear that we wouldn't be impacted. And so I feel good about the process, and am ready to sign on to that letter on behalf of Sonoma County Transit for complete streets. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen, and thanks for all of your work on this effort, being a countywide bus operator. I'm sure you're the project, most of the projects touch your service area, so.
Yeah.
All right, do any of the other transit operators have comments to make or questions on the review process?
None from Petaluma standpoint. Looked like a great list of projects. I'm really excited about it overall.
Thanks, Jerry.
And in Santa Rosa, obviously, we're working closely with our city colleagues on the Santa Rosa projects, which are really the only ones that directly impact city bus. So we feel good that transit's been taken into consideration there, and we'll work with them on the complete streets checklist.
Great, thank you, Rachel.
For SMART, I sent Nancy Adams one small comment on one of the projects on Cleveland Ave, just to make sure that there's connectivity to the existing pathway. I have not heard back from her on that yet.
Nancy is still on vacation, so.
Okay, good to know.
And Dana, I emailed you. It looks like despite how much service area we have in Sonoma County, all of these missed us. So if you still need us to sign off, this flag just appeared. If you still need us to sign off, I'll just need to know if it's manager level or director level. But since we're not actually impacted, we probably don't need to sign off.
Okay, thanks, David, for that clarification. My read on the complete streets checklist is that you only need to sign off on it if the projects are either within your service area, or if there's a route or a bus stop or transit stop.
Yeah, we're close, but not quite for all of them.
Okay, then we can take Golden Gate Transit off of the letter. I don't think there's any need to sign.
Okay, yeah, that works for us. Thanks.
Thank you. And I know that Marin Transit touches Sonoma County. I didn't take a look and see if any of the projects touch the Marin Transit service area. But yeah, I don't know, Robert, if you had a chance to glance through the project list.
I did not have a chance to look at the list, but pretty confident that it won't impact any of our service.
Okay. All right. Great.
Robert, do you just go to Copeland Street once a week, or what's left up there?
Yeah, it's just a deviated route into Petaluma from
Okay.
Beach to Mollis, and it's once a week, so pretty minor.
Okay.
Yeah, and the two Petaluma projects we have don't affect your route, so I think there's probably no impact to your service.
All right. Great. Well, are there any other comments from transit operators? All right.
Just a reminder, on the list of potential OBAG applications, originally we had the 3 bus replacement projects for City Bus, Sonoma County Transit, and Petaluma Transit. And since we got the TIRCP funding for those projects, you don't need to worry about doing the OBAG application.
Yeah, so we will attach a revised list without those projects that were funded through TIRCP to the letter and route that for signature. Great. Well, thank you to all of the OBAG 3 applicants for joining today and being here to answer any potential questions. We appreciate your time through this process, and we will be facilitating the signing of the letter and getting it out to all of you to include with your complete streets applications.
Hey Dana, this is Craig Scott, City of Cotati. I kind of came in late to the meeting. I apologize. I don't know if City of Cotati sidewalk project was addressed at all in this meeting, but it's a pretty expansive sidewalk gap closure project throughout town on the west side and east side. And it will definitely benefit access to transit to bus stops. We've requested a letter from SCT for supporting the project. And so I just encourage anybody to reach out to me if they have any questions about the project.
Well, thanks for saying something, Craig, because that reminded me, I think there might be 1 or 2 gaps along the portion of West Cotati Avenue that Golden Gate Transit does actually serve. So maybe, so there's sidewalks where our bus stops actually already are. So I don't know at what point that cutoff is for Golden Gate Transit needing to have a sign off, but we can talk about that offline, Dana, if you want.
Yeah, definitely. I could shoot you over a map of where the vicinity map and the locations of all the sidewalks. And then if there's additional segments that would help, we could consider adding those to the project.
Sure. Yeah. So I think it might just be a formality since I don't think you're closing our bus stops as part of the project. So,
no.
But so I guess I take back that we may be unaffected completely, depending on where exactly those gap closures are.
Yeah, as we approach, as West Cotati approaches Highway 116, there's a sidewalk all the way back to Gilman Ranch Road and then even to Cotati Oaks.
Yeah. So is that all west of 101?
Yes. Oh, thank you, whoever put that up.
There we go. This is great.
So right at the top left.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. I was getting West Sierra and West Cotati mixed up. My bad. Okay. Yeah. So this is why I thought, yeah, everything comes close, but doesn't actually end up touching where Golden Gate is. So yeah. So we don't need to have a sign off from us. Thank you. That map helps a lot.
Okay.
Hi, Craig. Stephen Schmitz. Stephen Schmitz with Sonoma County Transit. Hi.
Oh, hi, Stephen. Yeah, I sent that request to you.
Well, you know, I did respond on the 5th, and I sent an email response and let you know that we do support the project and that several of the sidewalk gap closures will improve access to our bus stops. And so I just resent it again. So look for that. And then if you also need it in a more formal letter of support, I'm happy to do that. Just let me know.
Great. Thank you. I apologize. I haven't looked at, I mustn't have opened up that email yet, but I appreciate the response.
Okay. Sure.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Are there any other comments or questions on the OBAG 3 project review? All right, great. Thank you. Well, let's move on to item 4.2, which is the TIRCP application update. I'm sure everybody's heard that we were successful in and were awarded the full amount for the Transit Intercity Rail Capital Projects program that we applied for on behalf of SMART, Sonoma County Transit, Petaluma Transit, and San Jose City Bus. So great news. That also allows us to fund, kind of, or have more applicants in the OBAG 3 program. So that's great news all around for everyone here. I'll just open it up if anybody has any questions, comments. Lots of great emojis.
I was going to say, Stephen is really like getting them all lined up. Yeah, just, thank you very much to SCTA. I think I've already expressed to David and Suzanne that I personally, we didn't have the capacity at City Bus to tackle the TIRCP application. I think being able to convene, 5 different operators in one application was probably a big measure of the success of the application. So thank you for all that work. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll echo what Rachel just said, and there's no way we could have done it without SCTA staff, and we didn't have the bandwidth to do it either. And especially, I think David kind of took the lead on it, and so huge kudos, David, and everybody else that worked on it over there at SCTA. It's probably one of the largest grants that we've received for transit ever in the county. I think maybe almost $25 million. So that's huge. So it's going to help us tremendously, and really appreciate you guys stepping up and taking the lead on it.
And I'll add to that. Thanks so much to everyone for their great work on it, especially SCTA. You know, it's a great program. It'll be a great package of projects. Petaluma especially benefits from this for the funding that we get for the Corona station, the 10.1 million, in addition to the electric bus funds, bus stop funds. So that's really great. You know, people are really excited. That'll give us a huge push to get that second smart station built. So lots of excitement around here, and thanks to everyone for the great work with it.
Yeah, I'd like to just thank everyone for helping on that application. It was really definitely a team effort with all the operators and with our staff here, and we could have done without you. And we're really excited to help implement it now that we have the funding.
Yeah, I would echo all of that. So thank you to the SCTA staff who worked so hard on this. David, who took the lead. It's, I think, an example of hopefully things we can do more of in the future. You know, when we talk about integration, this was, we're doing planning side of that. Now we're doing funding side of that, integrating, you know, the work of the operators. So there's a good amount more money in the state budget going forward the next 3 years. I think it would be helpful for this group to talk about what priorities we might have for that in the future as well, and opportunities to demonstrate how we're working together. That might be another agenda item for next month or something, but I just wanted to plant that seed. So let's build on the success, and thanks for letting us kind of help pull that together. I think it served us all well.
One of the nearby reporters was asking for additional info on it. Does anyone know if it got picked up? Have they seen anything in the papers about it yet?
Yeah, it was in the Argus/Press Democrat today.
Okay.
Yeah, it looked like they kind of took some content from the press release that Smart and Petaluma did and the press release that SCTA did. So it's like they kind of blended it together. And I think CBS picked up the Smart Petaluma press release as well previously.
Great.
Great. All right. I would actually, this is probably a good time to add an item under regional funding. The quarterly report for the Transportation Development Act, Article 3 and Transportation Fund for Clean Air Program was completed after the agenda went out. So we just sent it out as a handout. I'll go ahead and just share my screen real quick and point out a couple of things. I'll focus on the TFCA program. Oops. Can you all see that? Okay, great. Yeah, these are the active projects, not including the fiscal year 22-23 projects, and the amount expended and balances as of the fourth quarter of fiscal year 22. Highlighted in red are the projects that have expiration dates at the end of this calendar year. And I also just want to make sure that everyone's paying attention to the project start deadlines. I think that the nearest one coming up would be Sonoma County Transit's electric bus purchase number 4, which that project needs to start some sort of documentable initiation by August 21st. So just wanted to point those out, and then open it up if anybody has any questions. Oops, I didn't mean to stop my share.
That's the way we roll. We start after our expiration.
Right, yeah, that was an odd one, because the air district had created some more lenience on project start deadlines due to COVID for a number of fiscal years, and it has to do with when the agreement was actually signed, and in Santa Rosa's case, that agreement did take a while to get signed. So I'm anticipating a request for extension on that project. But the project start deadline is not able to be extended. So do keep that in mind.
Yeah, so we'll probably be submitting the fund expiration requests September-ish, something like that. And then we'll be starting the 21 Sonoma 03 project in the October, November, December quarter. So there's actual financial activity prior to the deadline.
Great. That sounds great. Thank you.
And I think, given that this is the funding source for the free fare program for youth, I don't personally have any concern about, being able to expend these funds timely, though it sounds like, of course, we'll need the extension for the one, but, that program is moving forward, quite robustly. So we should be good.
Great. All right. Any other questions on this item? Okay, great. Whoops. Let's move on to transit integration updates. I think that a lot has been going on with the award of the TIRCP application, and as well as the Climate Resiliency Fund application. We haven't not had an ad hoc Future of Transit ad hoc committee meeting since Transit TAC last met. So we don't have any formal updates there, but I will just open it up if anybody has anything that they would like to discuss regarding the future of transit integration, or any transit integration work that is led by the region through MTC.
I'll just note, I believe in all of the local bus systems in Sonoma County, the consolidated or coordinated paratransit application went live on July 1st.
Right.
So that's a piece that got to the finish line, which is pretty cool. A lot of detailed effort to bring all of our processes and our application into uniformity. So just want to thank everyone for that hard work. I didn't do anything on that. It was Yuri and everyone else. So thank you so much. It's huge. I also want to shout out to Sonoma County Transit. So, with our free fare program for youth, there's been a lot of uptake by the school districts, their summer programs. So there's a summer extended school year program in Santa Rosa City Schools that was trying to move 200 kids on the bus to a movie yesterday morning. And we're like, could you guys just add some extra buses to get all of our kids? And we were like, no, we can barely operate the ones we've got. So Yuri reached out to Sonoma County Transit and said, hey, can we put some of these kids on the 30, the 60, the 48, to bring them downtown? And y'all helped accommodate that, let them ride for free as they would have on city bus. And so that was just really, really appreciated and created just a lot of goodwill and positivity around transit, for the youth and for the schools. So I just want to thank you guys for that. It was a very quick partnership and much appreciated.
I wanted to mention that SMART is interested in doing some wayfinding at the stations. And I'm going to meet with Jay Stodgy again tomorrow, and I haven't talked to him in a few months, but has there been any progress among the bus operators in working on wayfinding. I mean, I know that I certainly saw the regional announcement of the vendor they selected, but that's really not for a couple years. And I don't want to wait a couple years to get maps up at the stations. And so we might be using the designs they have in place in the meantime. So I just wanted to check in and see if there's any parallel work going.
You know, Emily, I know we chatted briefly at one point, but we'd love to get in that conversation with you all because we do have these ASIC funds for wayfinding, and that's my daughter's ride arriving, the smart station areas. So if we could maybe set up a time to talk and see who else might be interested, that'd be great. And I'm going to pop off real quick and deal with logistics of children for a sec.
Yesterday at the Planning and Operations Subcommittee meeting for the Blue Ribbon Task Force, or the entity formerly known as, Jay said that there is going to be a new hire to manage the wayfinding, because I think Jay said that his time is limited before retirement, so he didn't want to take on that new work just to have to transition it right away. So I'm sure he'll tell you about that tomorrow, but he did not say who the new person is, just that they would be starting soon.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, people weren't aware Charlie Anderson's last week is this week as well. His last day is Friday, apparently.
Oh, really?
Yesterday.
No. Interesting.
Who, Jared?
Charlie Anderson with Westbound.
Oh, wow.
On that note, we're hiring a planner at SMART. If anyone wants to come be a senior planner, the position's going to be focusing on the pathway and all things pathway. So I would love to get someone with active transportation experience. But if you know anyone who might be interested, please send them our way.
Emily, I have a question. I was looking at sending out forwarding your email on that, but it looked like the deadline passed already. Is that extended? Do you know?
Extended.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I'll go ahead and send it out to folks.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I think Santa Rosa's also looking for an active transportation planner now too. I assume that Bjorn is leaving.
Yeah, I think the position's already opened for application.
Well, we're out for a transit specialist position here at Sonoma County Transit. For those of you that don't already know, Maria RC went on to do other stuff. So looking for another planner here at Sonoma County Transit as well.
I'm just going to jump in, going back to the wayfinding. Emily, I'll send you what the city of Petaluma has, and we kind of follow with what Cotati had started, Novato had started, and it may be of some use to you. The firm has done a really good job, and we're going into phase 2 of the work, but I'll send you kind of what we have as far as the graphics that have been developed, and if you need more information, let me know. Thank you.
Yeah, that would be great, Ken. And just to sort of clarify, SMART is trying to take on 2 different types of wayfinding projects this year. One will be the pathway, and I think the wayfinding that the city is doing will come into play there a bit more. And we did budget to hire a design firm. And I reached out to the firm that you've been working with a few months ago because the work looks good. And then the other type of wayfinding would be at the stations, right? So you get off the train and you want to go east on the bus, but you have no idea what bus stop to go to. So that type of thing. And because the MTC has these templates already in place, we would like to get them to create signs for us. So.
Oh, and Emily, if Jay isn't able to supply you with anything in particular, we've used that particular standard for wayfinding signs or maps, if you will, at LFT and also at the bridge itself. So we have some material that's probably already in Illustrator that could be usable. The one that we posted at the Golden Gate Bridge is actually a variation on a thing because it's been made into sort of 3D. There's so many tourists there that we have to put in some images and stuff so they can really comprehend where they are. The Larkspur Ferry Terminal is more straightforward.
Great, thank you.
With what you all mentioned about Jay leaving and somebody else coming in earlier, is that position open now to fill, that Jay's going to kind of get them trained up before he leaves? And then when, do you know when he's planning on retiring?
I don't think it's immediate. My impression was that the new manager is a limited term. Was it like 3 years or something like that? But it didn't sound like Jay was like leaving tomorrow. I think it's, you know, maybe he's leaving next year or something. But for that kind of project, it's just not worth his effort of switching into it and switching out of what he's in currently and then having to train somebody to replace him.
Dana, do you have any more information on the recent award? I think it was $6 million. And I just know from what I've seen in the news announcements, but it sounds like Solano and Sonoma are kind of going to be the first to implement this. And how does that dovetail with MTC's wayfinding? Do you know anything more about it?
Yeah, so the scope for the consultant award was to include Sonoma County and Solano County transit operators as kind of pilot projects. And you know, there were some questions. I think I can safely reveal this now that I was on the panel for that. And there were some questions about the scope, more specifically for the Sonoma County project, and kind of whether it covers every route and bus stop or it focuses on some of the more core hubs and higher frequency stops. That's something that would be great to look into now, kind of where they landed on that piece of the scope. Since it is, you know, finalized and awarded, I think that it would be good to, you know, it would probably be a good time to talk with MTC about that piece of the scope in more detail. But yes, Solano and Sonoma would be the kind of early phase pilots, and the idea would be to kind of create these pilots that could be replicated in other areas, in other parts of the Bay Area.
And that's just standardizing bus stop, or is it branding? Sorry, I can't remember.
Yeah, so it would be branding, wayfinding, mapping, kind of developing all of that with this more unified brand. Yeah, regional brand.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe it would be a good time to reach out to MTC. That's something that maybe we could facilitate and you know, ask for an update on the schedule and scope of the local pilot piece.
It sounds good. Yeah.
All right. Are there any other transit integration related topics anybody wants to bring up?
Just a quick plug for some of the Blue Ribbon Task Force work that I guess I've been asked to lead around the service category assignments. I'm not sure who all attends the Tuesday planning and operations meeting, but we have been requested, all the operators have been requested to assign service categories to their routes in the GTFS Plus data. So hopefully you're aware of the request, and if you have any questions or need any help, I'm happy to assist. But it is something that the region's asking for to help the consultant effort and really defining the network moving forward. So And I do not believe any of the Sonoma County operators have completed that task yet. I know Golden Gate has done it, but the 3 local operators have not.
Hey, Robert, it's Matt. I thought I did it. Can you confirm that? Because I remember going in there and changing stuff, but maybe I saved it incorrectly or something of that nature.
Yeah, I noticed one thing that's happening. If you go in and make the initial, you upload a new feed. Unless you have an action created that will transfer that data, it won't get updated with the new feed. So
we need to do it manually. Okay, so we did upload a new schedule between when I did it, and I'll go back in there.
yeah, there is a way to automate it. So every time you upload a new schedule, it just copies over those route assignments, which I highly recommend. And that's in the documentation. But again, I'm happy to show you how to create that action as well.
Okay, I'll take a look at the documentation. If there's an issue, I'll reach out to you.
Great.
And Matthew, just so you know, we actually did the transformations yesterday because we had the same issue. And Kapil at MTC was able to assist us because I think we encountered a bug with part of the process, but he was able to do it for us in like 2 minutes. So it should be pretty smooth.
It's also not, I mean, I just set a reminder to do it manually. We only have like 13 routes. It goes super fast. So either way, I'll take a look and I'll reach out to all appropriate personnel if there's issues.
Thanks for that reminder, Robert. I remember working with you a few months ago, but I think I dropped the ball. So if you could resend what the next step is, and happy to make that happen.
Will do. I'll drop the link in the chat here. Just a minute.
Thanks.
All right, let's move on to operator updates. Let's see. David, would you like to start?
Sure. Not too much to report on our end. As all of you are probably also doing, we are underway with our short range transit plan update now. Trying to pull together some budget numbers and that sort of thing to just see how bad things really are going to be for us. Because our funding mix is different than everyone else here on the call. And MTC did prepare three sets of scenarios for all of us. And at least on our end, it looks like all 3 are too optimistic. Thus the extra work on our end. And luckily MTC is okay with the 4th scenario being analyzed. So for us, that will most likely be the primary one. And then we'll supplement it with the 3 scenarios that MTC has. In terms of transit performance, now that school is out for the summer, our ridership on the bus side has plateaued. On the ferry side of things, we still have the recreational riders, and of course a place like Angel Island is pretty busy during the summer, even though there isn't school groups there. So ferry is doing pretty good, and we actually expanded service the last week of June on ferry with a couple later evening trips, including one later evening trip to Larkspur. So if you go on our website, you'll see that new schedule. And on the bus side of things, people are still riding the bus. Luckily, not that many, but there are some people on the bus. So we'll see how it goes. We're currently reviewing potential service changes for September. And as with everyone else here, I'm sure recruitment has been a very difficult issue for us to resolve. So even if we wanted to expand bus service, we really just don't have the staff capacity to do so. And then Jacob, I don't know if you have anything on the kind of capital and grants side of things, but that's really it operationally.
No new updates here. Thank you.
Thank you. Jared, would like to give an update on Petaluma Transit?
Yeah, thank you. So we're also working on service changes for the fall that'll take place in August. We too have a driver shortage that's impacting service. We'll probably have to do some minor reductions in our school trooper service until we can stabilize the staffing there, which ties in with an extension and amendment that we're doing with our transit operator MB right now that we're hoping gets executed in August. That'll allow us to make the wages there more competitive, hopefully help to address the staff shortage. We've been working on updating our COOP plan, continuity of operations, along with several other parts of the city that are doing the same. It's kind of a widespread effort ongoing right now. So that's about it, nothing major. And then our newest employee, Ray Atkinson, starts on July 25th. He's our senior transit planner. And that's about it.
Great, thanks, Jared. Stephen, would you like to give an update on Sonoma County Transit?
Sure, we're getting ready for our next schedule changes coming up mid-August, August 13th. So that's getting ready for school trippers and all that for next school year. Brian wanted me to mention that TDA revenues were up 11% in the fourth quarter. So hopefully that's all good news for you. And our ridership is still flat. You know, we're holding at 60% pre-COVID on the fixed route side. I'm not sure what paratransit's at, but we're holding steady. Getting ready for our next big bus purchase will be through Proterra for some battery electric buses coming up in the next couple of years. We're trying to secure an FTA grant, and the TIRCP funding is really going to help with that that procurement as well. That's about it.
Stephen, a couple questions for you.
Yeah.
Are these your first Proterra, and are you guys doing your own procurement, or are you doing like a piggyback or something?
We're going off the state bid.
Okay. And these are your first Proterras?
These are our first Proterras, yeah. And the range that they offer for 40 footers was very attractive to us. So that's why we decided to go with Proterra.
Okay. Has Santa Rosa taken delivery of any of the Proterras yet?
No, they're due in September, early September, still on track for that. So we can let you know how it goes. But really, the range was what drove us we were really on the fence. But that's what really drove us to Proterra. So will be an interesting test case for Sonoma County.
Yeah, thanks for being the piggyback.
You bet, no problem.
Not the piggyback, the guinea pig. That's what I meant.
Yeah, and we also used the state contract, so that was the mechanism we used.
Okay.
I'm curious to both of you if you received any feedback from Samtrans. I'm curious why they pulled their Proterras off of the street so soon. They only had them out for like a year. Was it just a demo, or was there some other issue?
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just
go ahead, too.
Sorry. Mute myself now.
Go ahead, too.
What's the full name of Samtrans?
It's San Mateo
County Transit District.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I had heard anecdotally, I forget if it was Samtrans or another agency, but they've had some reliability issues with theirs, and that some of their operational rates were having concerns. I don't know the nature of what specifically was tied to the issue with them, but that's just kind of what I heard.
And I can see Sean's looking it up. We did a bunch of outreach, as we all do, to other operators running Proterra buses. And, it was a little bit of a mixed bag, right? Some people love them. Some people are like, but overall, we felt like that seems consistent with every manufacturer. But right. Overall, we felt like, the reviews are pretty positive. But Sean, I guess you can let us know if we had feedback from Samtrans specifically.
No, they're not on our list.
Yeah, I've heard that it's a mixed bag with all of them, right? I've heard from Gillig and from BYD especially, that there's been issues. So I guess it's no surprise.
That feedback is kind of par for the course with just about any manufacturer. I mean, we had hiccups with BYD that we had to work through for like a year on one of our buses. So it's just something that you kind of bake in the cake, and you have to be prepared to work through the hiccups.
Well, it's good to hear that these ones have longer range. You know, here at Golden Gate, we have a while before we need to replace any buses. But you know, range is a huge concern for us. You know, can we even make the round trip from Santa Rosa to San Francisco on a single charge?
Are
the
you guys,
BYDs we run from We're in Transit seem to suggest the answer would be no. So,
are you considering battery electric, or would you guys consider a hydrogen fuel cell?
officially, we're considering electric, but I know our maintenance department is having second thoughts about that. But you know, with the state of our service, you know, I think we were going to have bus procurements in 2024 and 2026, and you know, nothing's official yet. But I would say it's highly unlikely that we'll do either one of those procurements at this point. So I think we have until 2029 to make a decision.
And then Sean, I'd be curious, did you say you have some documentation? Did you do some sort of reference checks or something like that as part of your process?
Yuri had sent out a request of many operators, specifically those that Proterra had actually provided that had Proterra buses. And basically, yeah, it was basically just a response, a survey response of like, how many do you got? What are the oldest? What are your newest? How much battery is in it? What are your thoughts, pros and cons, stuff like that. We only got 10 responses. So it's kind of hard when a few say they're great, a few say they're not great.
Would you be willing to share that with me? Yeah,
Yeah, we can do that.
If you wouldn't mind sending that to us too as well, Sean, that would be nice to see. And if you want more responses, you got to provide gift certificates.
Good to know.
All right. Emily, would you like to give an update on SMART?
Sure. Ridership is trending slightly upwards still, so that's good. People are starting to spread out over the additional service that we added last month. I think we're up 3 to 5% from last month so far for July. We are in the process of getting the APC system installed. So I've been having a lot of meetings about that. It seems like it's working very well. It's going to be really interesting data. Once it's ready, it's only going to be 2 or 3 months, I would say, before it's fully operational. And we are going to be continuing to run Giants special trains. It's only for the 1 p.m. games on Sundays. But we've had very good response so far. The way our train schedule works, it lines up perfectly to take our regular 10:30 train south to get there for the ferry, or getting in at 10:30. And then coming back, we're adding a special train that meets the ferry whenever it comes in from Oracle Park. And then if you miss that one, there's a backup train at 7 o'clock. So we've had some people staying late to party and catching the later train. But if you could spread the word, that'd be great. You know, we get requests for special service all the time, but we're in the process of trying to figure out, you know, when it's justified and when it's not, and basically just how to staff it and how to price it. So this is an experiment for us. If I can, I'll dig up some Facebook marketing and maybe send it to you to share. I'd appreciate it on the Giants service. That's all I have.
Thanks. And Robert, do you want to give an update on Marin Transit?
Sure. Staffing update, we also have a couple open manager positions. We were able to fill our operations manager. He will start on August 22nd. He's also coming out from Colorado, previously with Denver RTD and most recently with CDOT. So we're excited to have him start and join. And we also currently have a transit manager, transit planning manager position open. So we're actively recruiting and trying to staff up. Our ridership, we finished the school year pretty strong. I'm hearing that May was 85% of pre-COVID ridership levels, so which is actually about 6% higher than April. So seems like a good trend. I think we are starting to see a plateau with school coming or school letting out for the summer, but we did ramp back up our Muir Woods shuttle service. And I think many of you know that we're running that service out of the Larkspur Ferry Terminal this year, at least one of the routes out of the ferry terminal. So we're also going to be doing some surveying in the coming weeks of riders to find out how they got to that terminal, where they're coming from, to see if we want to continue to use that facility or if we want to go back to our Pahono Park and Ride lot. But I know there's a lot of marketing and coordination around that change. This summer, we are continuing fair promotions this summer. We currently have a youth fare free that we're running all summer. We also ran 5 days of free service over the Marin County Fair. So we're gonna, those were, I think, 3 of the 4 fair promotion campaigns we did in the last year, and we're gonna be summarizing those and reporting out to our board probably in September on those results. We are going to be rolling out our school summer changes. Our supplemental routes will probably go back into service. I think it's the 16th of August. But aside from that, we aren't looking at any significant service changes for September at this point. So, and we continue to park 4 of our Gillig electric buses. It's been 9 months they've been sitting in the yard without any operation because of our switch gear that was back ordered a year and a half. So we are hearing that second week in September, the switch gear will arrive and PG&E is scheduled to do their tie-in to be in place by October 1st. So hopefully we can start to test out our Gillig electric buses in October, which we're greatly looking forward to.
Who's the manufacturer of that switchgear?
I have no idea. I could probably find out. But yeah, we did 95% of that construction project a year ago, and they've been parked and waiting. And I guess it's good marketing having them sit on the side of the freeway, but we start them up and move them around every week and check the battery charge on them. But yeah, very disappointing. Those have not seen service yet.
Was that something you were purchasing through Gillig, or is that through like a separate vendor or contract?
Yeah, it was part of our infrastructure upgrade project. It was a PG&E fleet ready project, but it wasn't on the PG&E side. It was on the construction side. So.
Thanks, Robert. Rachel, do you want to give an update on Santa Rosa City Bus?
Sure. Yeah, we already talked about our buses. We also have a charging infrastructure construction project moving along that also has, one supply chain issue that we're hoping will be resolved so that it will be complete by the time the buses arrive. But similar situation, 95% of the project, no issue, but just need that one piece of equipment to finish it. We're also planning very minor service changes in August. These are, right now, I think as most of you are probably aware, we're having to suspend a couple of weekday runs due to our driver shortage. So we're just rejiggering the schedule, not really an increase in service, some surgical decreases, but just so we'll be able to actually deliver all of our scheduled service instead of, stringing our poor ridership along from alert to alert. So that'll give us kind of some stability to build on. We do continue recruitment. We've got some trainees in the pipeline. We've got more interviews tomorrow. So we're hoping, and I think we've been through most of our retirements for this year. So we're hoping that by the fall, we'll be able to stabilize staffing and build back up enough that we can begin to contemplate stepping service up. But it's, incredibly frustrating. We've got the resources to restore more service and just not the ability to do it yet. Other than that, Matt, if you're still on, you might have some ridership updates. I know we were really excited. We broke 1 million, in the fiscal year. We wanted to get back into that number of digits, and we managed to do that, which was a nice little thing. But any other comments on ridership, Matt?
No, I mean, that's kind of the big news is the million mark. We broke it by 20,000. Free fare for youth, fiscal year total was 245,000 trips. So, I mean, basically a quarter of our ridership is youth at this point. I think in 1 month we had 38% of our ridership was youth. So definitely the free youth program has helped us build back up.
Great, thank you. Does anybody have any other business comments or announcements?
Just a note, Rachel, on that. I'm curious to see where exactly above 1 million you are, because you might have beat us for bus this year. Because we are at about 1,037,000 for the year.
You beat us by 17,000.
Okay.
So you're still ahead.
Just barely.
Just barely.
At least we have ferry too.
I'll just note that looks like the next meeting schedule on the agenda was from last month. So we will not have an August SCTA RCPA board meeting. The next meeting will be September 12th. And then the next Transit TAC meeting is scheduled for August 10th. Sometimes there's availability issues that week that school starts. Can I get a quick raise of hands if anybody thinks that they will not be available and we should consider rescheduling?
I will be out of the office that day, but others from City Bus can be here.
Okay.
Oh, is that the first week of school in Sonoma County?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I don't know if everywhere, but
no, but in Santa Rosa, they start on Thursday that week, which is really annoying. Petaluma starts the following week, so it's a little bit of a mixed bag.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a challenge for us, is always figuring out, between 4 counties and probably 10 or 12 school districts. Usually later in August for most of the service area that we're in. Good to know.
Do they start on Thursday every year, Rachel, or is that something new or unusual?
Yeah, they're starting in the wrong week, so I have feelings about it. It's not convenient for our planned schedule change by 2 days.
Are they trying to make up for something? It seems like a really odd start time.
Yeah, I have no insight. We reached out to the district, quite a while ago, and but I don't think we heard any of the reasoning behind that. So, well.
Yeah, it's a frustration I'm sure we all have working with the schools, is what seems like a minor change to them, changing like the bell times and the days. I don't think they always know the repercussions of it when it has ripple effects with things like transit and how it impacts us, unfortunately.
All right. Anything else? Announcements? All right. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See you soon.
Thanks. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.